नमस्ते बेटियों, खुश रहिए। आई JV Muskan Kumari from the Department of Science and Technology, and I'm working here as an assistant professor in JVWU Women's University and the Faculty of Education in Mathematics. Okay. So today I will discuss about the transport layer and their services. What are the services provided by the transport layer, and what are the basic needs of this layer in the OSI model, what the working of the transport there, isn't it? So these all topics will be covered in today's session with you. Okay, so please try to understand this topic very clearly. And to understand this topic very clearly, I am just going to share some files through which you can easily get the points. Okay, so firstly, here, yes, this one is the basic transport layer protocols. Okay. So what? Transport layer protocols. Basic introductions about these ones. So transport layer protocol is represented by the two protocols. First is your TCP, second is your UDP, and with the help of these two protocols, you can easily transmit the data packets clear from one place to another place. But you can see here that the data packets is transferring, we are telling like data packet is transferring from source to destination in multi layers like networks layers, transport layer, data link layer, isn't it? So what is the basic requirement of these all layers in this during the transmission of data packets? So but you can also understand here that what in data link layer you are using the some things, but in network layer you are getting the protocols, various protocols, and the internet protocol IP addresses required for transferring the data packets, isn't it? So network layer provides the IP addresses, and in transport layer they are basically provides you the protocols through which you can easily transmit the data to the actual destinations of your data, actual destinations in the network. Clear? So IP protocols in the network layer delivers the datagram from source host to the destination host. Nowadays, operating system supports the multi-user and multi-processing environments, and executing program is known as the process. When a host send a message to the other host, it means source process is sending a process to the destination process. Clear? You can also say like this, right? The transport layer protocol defines some connections to individual port, known as the protocol port. Clear? Now, an IP protocol is a host-to-host protocol that used to deliver the packets from source host to the destination host, while transport layer protocols are port-to-port protocols that work on the top of the IP protocols that is used to deliver the data packets from the originating port to the services, originating port to the IP services, and from IP services to the destination port. Clear? So this is the basically the protocol helps from port to port. Clear? Now each port is defined by a positive integer address, and it is of the 16 bit. Clear? As you can see here that telnet there is a client and one will be the server. Here is a client that is using the telnet, and here is the server that is also use the same protocols. Okay. Here, whatever you are using here, the TCP or UDP protocols for transmitting the data packets, and IP address is also required at the data link layer and the network layer, and data link layer is used and the physical layer is also used. Okay, telnet is at the application layer. So here you can see that TCP allows you to transfer the data packets from source to destination port to port with the help of the TCP or UDP. So here TCP UDP is also used in the server sides, and your IP and data link layer and physical layer is already same as it is your client side, and then it is also at the server side. But here you can see that only the port number is changes. Now UDP. What is the UDP? UDP is basically stands for the user data protocols. That is basically used as a simple protocol, and it also provides you the non-sequence transport functionality. Okay, so UDP is basically the connection list protocols. You can also say like this ones. And if you talk about the UDP, then you can also tell like the this type of protocol is used when reliability and security are less important than the speed and the size. Clear? When the size and speed of data packet is not that much important uh, for the reliability and security. Okay, it means what? You are giving the more importance to the speed and the size of the data packets, but not you are focusing on the data packet security and the reliability transferring of the data packets. So this is basically considered under the UDP protocols. In that case, you are following the UDP protocols for transferring the data packets. Okay, so now UDP is end-to-end transport layer protocols, and that also adds the transport layer address, checksum error control, length informations to the data from the upper layer. The packet produced by UDP protocol is also known as the user data packet. Clear? Now, user datagram format is given here to you. The user datagram has a 16-byte header which is shown below. Source port address, destination port address, okay, total length of bits at the source side, and checksum is also of the 16 bit, which is used for the error control and detection methods. And here is the data packets. Clear? So where what is here? Source port address, it defines the address of the application process that has delivered a message. The source port address is of the 16-bit address, and destination port address is also of the 16 port address, and it defines the address of the application process that will be receive the message of the similar messages which is sent by the sender. Okay, now if we talk about the total length, so it defines the total length of the user datagram in the bytes, and it is a 16-bit field, occupy the 16-bit field. Okay, checksum, the checksum is a 16-bit field which is used for the error detection and correction methods. Clear? Now, what will be the disadvantage of the UDP protocol? The first disadvantage is that what? In this, you by following the UDP protocols, the security and reliability of data packets is not very confirmed or highly recommended. Is not done in this one. Clear? So you can say like this: the security and reliability of data packets is not much secure in the by following the UDP protocols. Clear? So UDP also provides the functions that needed for the end-to-end delivery or the transmissions, and it doesn't provide any sequencing and recording functions, and also doesn't help specify the damaged packets which is reporting an error. Clear? So basically what it doesn't provide you is sequencing and the reordering function. Suppose if the data packet get lost during the transmission from source to the destination, then they are not retransmit the data packets or not reordering that data packets, isn't it? Function, and also doesn't specify the damaged packets when reporting an error. Clear? So, UDP can discover that an error has occurred, but it doesn't specify which packets has been lost, as it doesn't contain any ID or sequencing number of a particular data packet signal. Clear? Now, if we talk about the another protocols which is in the transport layer protocol, that is the TCP. TCP is basically the transmission control protocol, full form is this, and it is the connection oriented protocol. It provides the full transport layer service to the application, and it is also connection. Why we are calling here the connection oriented protocols? Because the connection established between both the ends of the transmission And for creating the connection, TCP generates a virtual circuit between the sender and receivers for the duration of the transmission. Clear? Now, if you talk about the features of TCP protocol, so the features of TCP protocol is what? Extreme data transfer, reliability, flow controls, multiplexing, and etc. Stream data transfer. TCP protocol transfers the data in the form of continuous stream of bytes, isn't it? TCP group the bytes in the form of TCP segments and then pass it to the IP layer for transmission to the destination. TCP itself segment the data and forward to the IP addresses. Yeah. Now, if we talk about the reliability, what is the meaning of the reliability? Reliability, TCP basically assigns a sequence number to each byte which is transmitted and expects a positive acknowledgement from the receiver sides. Isn't it? If acknowledgement is received within the timeout interval, then the data is retransmitted. If the acknowledgement is received within the time, then the sender again sends the another data packets for the transmission. If the acknowledgement is not received within the timeout interval, then sender again retransmit the same data packets which he has already sent the earlier. Okay, so this shows the reliability in the transport protocols. Now, if you talk about the flow control, when receiving TCP sends the acknowledgement back to the sender that indicates the number of bytes it can receive without overflowing, without overflowing its internal buffer. Okay, now if we talk about the number of bytes which is sent in acknowledgement in the form of highest sequence number that it can receive without any problem, this mechanism is also referred to as a window mechanism. Okay? Now, if we talk about the multiplexing, what is the multiplexing, what is the logical connections, and what is the full duplex and many more things. So multiplexing is the process which is used for accepting the data from different applications, which is from the application layer, and forward that to the different application on different computers in the same network. At the receiving side, the data is forwarded to correct the application. This process is known as the demultiplexing. And whenever the TCP transmits the packets to the correct application by using the logical channels is known as the proxy. Clear? Now, what do you mean by the logical connection? Here we have used one term, the logical connection. So what does it mean this logical connection? Logical connection, the combination of the sockets or the sequence number and window size is called the logical connection. Each connection is identified by the pair of the sockets which is used by sending and receiving the processes. Clear? Now, what is the full duplex? TCP provides the full duplex, that means the data flow in both side directions at the same time. To achieve the full duplex services, each TCP should have sending and receiving buffers so that the segments can flow in both the directions. TCP is a connection oriented protocol, so suppose process A wants to send and receive the data from process B, the following step will occur. What? Firstly, you have to establish the connection between the TCPs. Second, data is exchanged in both the directions. Third, the data connection is terminated. After the this will be terminated whenever you after completion of the exchanging of information or data packets. So here you can say that the source port address is 16-bit in TCP. Their format is here TCP format. Source port address is 16-bit, destination port address is also 16-bit, sequence number is 32-bit, acknowledgement number is also 32-bit, and here you can say the header length is 4 bits. It means okay, and here reserved bit reserved bits are 6 bits, and here is the uh, rest of the bits. These are going to be the 10 and 6 bits. So is one bit is using the arguments, and one is for acknowledgement, one is for push, and one is for RST, one is for synchronize, and one is for FIA. Okay. So, and 16-bit is the window size. And if you talk here for the error detection and correction, that also the checksum, which contains the 16 bits, and urgent pointer also has 16 bits. And here the options and padding bits are of the 32 bits, which is already reserved. Here you can see that the source port address, the address is used to define of the application program in a source computer. It is of the 16-bit. Destination port address is what? It is used to define the address of the applications in destination computer, and it is also of the 16-bit. Now sequence number is a stream of data is divided into two or more TCP segments. The 32-bit sequence number field represents the positions of the data in an original data stream. Clear? Acknowledgement number is 32 bit. 32 field acknowledgement number acknowledges the data from the other communicating devices. If acknowledgement field is 1 set to 1, then specify the sequence number that is received is expecting that to receive. And if the header length, it specifies the size of the TCP header is 32 bit or words. The minimum size of the header is 5 words, and the maximum size of the header is 15 words. Now, therefore, maximum size of TCP header is 60 bytes, and the minimum size of TCP header is 20 bytes. Now, okay. So, if you talk about the result, so it is a 6-bit field which is reserved for future use. Clear? So now if you talk about the control bit, so each bit of the control field function individually and independently. A control bit defines the use of the segments of or server as validity checks for other fields also. Now, total number of types of the flags in the control field is 6. So, URJ is the urgent bit. The URJ field indicates that data in a segment is urgent. Okay? ACK field is set, that is the validates the acknowledgement number. PSH, the PSH field is used to inform the sender that higher throughput is needed. So, if possible, data must be pushed with higher throughput. Clear? RST, the reset bit is used to reset the TCP connections when there is any confusion occurs in the sequence number, then RST bit is required here. SYN field is used to synchronize the sequence number in three types of the segments: connection request, connection confirmation, which is with acknowledgement would say, and the connection confirmation acknowledgement is also required. Okay. So FIN field is basically used to inform the receiving TCP module that the sender has finished sending data, and it is used to connection termination in three types of the segments. First will be the window size. The window size is of the 16-bit that defines the size of the window. Checksum is the 16-bit field that is used for the error detection and correction. Urgent pointer is set to 1, that this is 16-bit is an offset from the sequence number indicating that this is the last urgent data bytes. And the options and padding, it defines the optional field that convey the additional information to the server. Okay, so this is all about your transport layer, the basic informations regarding the transport layer, what are the services provided by the transport layer, and what are the various protocols are used in the transport layer. So I have discussed this all the things with you, isn't it? So please read these sessions carefully by yourself once again. And in case if you have any problems regarding this session, then please drop your query in the comment section box, through which I will recover your query in the next session with you, isn't it? And most of the questions, possibility questions, will arises through this. mm, Please also solve that questions like what do you mean by the transport layer, what are the services provided by the transport layer, what are the various protocols used in the transport layer, what is the working of TCP, please explain the TCP form. Okay, so then you have to write down only the concise points for answering the questions. Okay, and also wait for the next sessions. Okay, thank you.